Part 68. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 671. According to the original story of the Grim Reaper, there are usually 5 or 6 Jesses on the Ialos at the same time, switching between them. The whole story will form a closed loop. However, after adding the variable of the reincarnation, the story has also been messed up. Now there are about 20 Jesses on the entire cruise ship at the same time. Among them, a few of the senior ones are still working together to hunt the reincarnations. The reincarnations are more alert, unlike the characters in the story, who are killed in a muddle. Although these people are temporary reincarnations, they have also been tested by various horror movies. Everyone knows that in such a weird place, everyone should gather together and try not to disperse. This makes it very difficult for Jessie to kill them. Although they will still be killed in the end every time, the branches of the story have become very many. So there are many more heroines on the ship than in the original story. Why can Xiaoming subdue the heroine, but these reincarnations can't do it together? This involves the issue of identity and authority. In the cycle world of the God of Death, the characters in the plot can actually resist Jessie, but with their ordinary mentality, it is impossible for them to kill their friends at the beginning. When they realize that Jessie will really kill them, they basically have no ability to resist. Even if they are lucky and subdue 1 or 2 of Jessie. But facing other Jesses who are more determined and armed on the cruise ship, they still can't live long. However, the space is set up differently for the reincarnations. When they face Jessie, they are not even allowed to fight back. They can only resist or escape. They can't subdue Jessie like Xiaoming and then tie him up like a big dumpling. Xiaoming can do that because his VIP status is very special. In the reincarnation world, the authority is equivalent to the plot characters. So the Jesses on the entire cruise ship finally ushered in their nemesis, Zhang Xiaoming, who has no sympathy for women. In various ways, they were made into mummies by Xiaoming, gagged, and stuffed into every corner of the cruise ship. Xiaoming's advantage is too obvious. Agile, skilled in fighting, particularly sharp senses, and almost invisible. Xiaoming has always been used to being wretched, although he cannot use telekinesis to completely hide himself here. But if he is careful, it will be difficult for Jess to find him. Xiaoming is smart now. He always rushes out from the corners or shadows that Jess cannot see at the fastest speed and knocks her out with a palm. He is ruthless and doesn't talk much. Then he found a room nearby, tied Jess up like a mummy, blocked her mouth, and locked her up. Then he woke her up, said the same thing to the first Jess who was subdued by Xiaoming, and said it to this new big dumpling, and then left. He didn't communicate with Jess at all. In a short time, many Jess had been dealt with. 1 or 2 of them had no guest rooms nearby. Xiaoming just found a room and stuffed them in. In addition, Xiaoming also found the weapons and clothes that the God of Death prepared for the heroine. Naturally, he destroyed them all without hesitation, and then hid the fragments. Xiaoming can fight, but he is still an ordinary person. He will die after being hit by a shotgun. Xiaoming can't use these weapons anyway, so it's best to destroy them. However, considering that this is an infinite loop world, the God of Death will probably replenish these things regularly. Therefore, it is necessary to deal with all the heroines as soon as possible to avoid more trouble. While Xiaoming was cleaning up the Jesses, the plot characters and reincarnations who boarded the ship with him were also bleeding one by the Jesses. On the front deck, the 2 Jesses waved the fire axes viciously and killed the class Flower and Greg together, throwing their bodies into the sea. They thought they had killed all the members and the cycle should start again. So they looked in the direction where the yacht should come. As a result, there was nothing there. The 2 Jesses looked at each other. This is of course not worth being surprised. Xiaoming is still alive, and the next cycle cannot start. What's going on? Where is the next wave of people? Why didn't the yacht come? Then, what should we do? The two women looked at each other and saw that they were both confused. Suddenly, they seemed to think of something, and they actually swung their axes and chopped each other. A quarter of an hour later, the last two heroines on the cruise ship who were not subdued finally ended up with both of them injured and died together. Later, the two bodies were thrown into the sea by Xiao Ming, who was patrolling the entire ship. The infinitely looping horror cruise world was stuck by Xiao Ming's bug. The loop could not be started. Xiao Ming was the only one left on the entire cruise ship except for Jessie, who was tied up like a mummy. But the space did not prompt that the mission was successful, which meant that Xiao Ming failed to crack this world. What should I do next? The other reincarnations have all died. If the mission is completed at this time, how do they count? It doesn't matter, no matter how you count it, even if it is considered that their mission failed, it is better than being trapped in this infinite loop and completely exhausting their lifespan. Because there are too many variables, Xiao Ming did not intend to commit suicide and let the loop start again. Even if I start over, I'm afraid I won't be able to do better. On the contrary, I might make things worse. Let's wait and see. Maybe if just one Jessie wakes up, this cycle will be broken. Or maybe just one wake up is not enough, and it will take several Jesses to wake up. It may even be necessary for all the living Jesses to wake up. This is too much to ask. It is impossible to cover the entire cruise ship. Xiao Ming also has to patrol back and forth. Lest the Grim Reaper do something and release a certain Jessie. Facts have proved that Xiao Ming is not worrying too much. During the patrol, it was found that the first Jessie tied by Xiao Ming was almost free. It turned out that the chandelier above her exploded, and the broken glass pieces fell down and cut off several binding strips. Jessie struggled hard and cut more strips. When she was about to escape, she was discovered by Xiao Ming. The heroine was almost fainted with anger. It is estimated that the Grim Reaper who was secretly observing must be very angry. After tying Jessie up like a dumpling again, Xiao Ming decided to keep them together. Distributed management is too difficult. Patrolling back and forth may also encounter situations where it is too late. So in the restaurant of the cruise ship, Xiao Ming gathered all the Jessies who were locked up in various places of the cruise ship one by one. He put them under his nose and monitored them. Now, unless the god of death took action, there would be no chance to help them escape. Looking at the empty carpet in the restaurant, more than 20 beauties who were tied up tightly were neatly arranged. Xiao Ming suddenly felt that the scene was a bit evil. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 672. Until Xiao Ming left the world of the Grim Reaper, he was not sure what the rules of breaking this world were. He even had a slight suspicion that the Grim Reaper was stuck in a cycle by him, and because of certain rules, he could not interfere more. He had to give up. Of course, it could also be that some of the heroines, Jessie, figured it out, or gave up. They met some kind of passing requirements. If you want to really figure it out, you may have to go through this world a few more times to figure it out. But, God, just go through it a few more times. It doesn't matter if you don't understand it. It's better not to have such a difficult world appear again. In the Grim Reaper, Xiao Ming waited for a while. He found that there was no change. Maybe one or two Jessie figured it out, but the space didn't respond. If Xiao Ming was a reincarnator, the space might still give a prompt after reaching a certain goal. But VIPs would not get this prompt. Then Xiao Ming let go of the mouths of the protagonists and allowed Jessie to chat with each other. Maybe they could talk to themselves. I don't know how much time has passed. They would chat with each other. But only a few seemed to have given up, and most of the Jesses were still very stubborn. The final solution was actually inspired by one of the Jesses. Those most stubborn Jesses, even though they knew their sons were illusions, were willing to sink into this infinite cycle for the illusion. It can be said that they have gone astray. That's right, if she wasn't so persistent, the god of death wouldn't punish her like this. In this case, let's give them illusions. If Xiao Ming's various supernatural energies were still there, it would be too easy to make illusions. But now there is none. Xiao Ming can only hypnotize these jesses through the experience of illusions learned in the Naruto world and his powerful mental power. Even though the original 6th level advanced mental power was suppressed by the world, it also allowed Xiao Ming's current mental power to reach the peak state of ordinary humans. Xiao Ming doesn't know the hypnosis method of psychologists in reality. He can't learn it just by watching movies and TV dramas. However, with the experience of Sharinan and illusions, Xiao Ming still figured out his own hypnosis method. Among them, the active cooperation of the jesses is also the key to success. The illusion given by the god of death requires a long cycle to see his son once. The illusion given by Xiao Ming can make his son accompany every jessie all the time. Of course they have to cooperate. Even Xiao Ming suspected that they might have hypnotized themselves. Xiao Ming just started a little. This trick really worked. Not long after, Xiao Ming completed the task and entered the settlement space. Sure enough, Peng Si, Ant Wang, the Dean of Teaching, the class flower, and the one who fell into the water and died with Ant Wang were all there. But the space did not return their memories of the cycle in the horror cruise to them. They passed this world in a daze. Peng Si did not remember sending a letter for help to Xiao Ming, and Wang did not remember what role she played in it. It is a blessing not to remember, and Xiao Ming did not intend to tell them. Although Xiao Ming passed the task, in such a world, as long as the participants passed it, they would get 20 points and some basic shopping vouchers as rewards. Through the notification of the space, several people understood that it was the leader who solved this task. Although there is no memory of the mission, the gains are obvious. They have all experienced several reincarnation worlds, so they naturally know that ratings and shopping coupons are not easy to get. They feel that they have picked up a great bargain by following for nothing. They all came to add the leader as friends and thanked him profusely. Peng Si also told Xiao Ming about his experience in the reincarnation space. His performance was relatively good. Xiao Ming felt a little sorry for these people, because he actually implicated these innocent people. They can get such rewards from the space, which is a blessing in disguise, and Xiao Ming can feel more at ease. As the biggest contributor to breaking the infinite loop, Xiao Ming certainly got a huge surprise. The space did not give him a reward in terms of source energy, but gave him a discounted item in the rating mall, World Chain. You know, every Monday, only after the first Orthodox mission world ends, the items in the mall will be refreshed. After that, the reincarnationists will not get the treatment of refreshing items when they play by themselves. After going through the Naruto world, Xiao Ming has become accustomed to buying all the things in the rating mall. At this time, an item suddenly appeared, which was of course very conspicuous. World Chain, the original price is unknown, and the discounted price is 400 points. Xiao Ming hurriedly bought it. After reading the item introduction, he realized that this was a very powerful item. In any reincarnation world, using this chain, you can fix this world as the private world of the reincarnationist. Other reincarnationists cannot enter without permission. Usually, the time in this world is static, and only when the owner enters, the time will run normally. Of course, before entering the private world, the reincarnationist must first enter the reincarnation space, and then enter the private world. So the time in the real world will be relatively static. It's amazing. For a while, it's still unclear how much value this private world will have. But Xiao Ming knows that this time he is really rich. Seeing the discount mark, Xiao Ming estimated that this is probably the compensation given to him by Qingxinglu. It is not Qingxinglu's principle to let the golden VIPs fall into this type of world. After such an excessive thing happened, Xinglu felt it necessary to compensate. The world chain must be a very valuable thing. And the one Xiaoming got is probably of a higher level. Because there is only one restriction on its use, that is, it must be used in the reincarnation world. There are no other restrictions. A simple thought will also know that there must be lower level world chains. The use of low level chains may limit the size of private worlds, or energy levels and the like. Needless to say, low level chains cannot be used to lock worlds such as Journey to the West and Fengshenbang. Even in the world of ordinary people, it may only be allowed to lock a piece of it, not the entire world. This is reasonable. I remember Zhao Zhuz who once said that many dragons placed their nests in the reincarnation space. Xiaoming thought it was placed in a personal space or a team space at the time. Now it seems that it is likely to be placed in a private world. Maybe Zhao Zhuz whose hometown is in the private world of his great-grandfather that he has always mentioned. It is estimated that some large forces, or all large forces, have a certain number and level of private worlds. This may explain how the major forces cultivate their own talents. The environment of Pangustar is really not suitable for cultivating talents with extraordinary powers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 673. In fact, there are many rules related to the private world. This will have to wait until Xiaoming really locks in the private world before he can slowly experience it. Looking at the top-notch items like World Chain, Xiaoming almost immediately took action and created a private world to play with. Fortunately, he controlled this impulse in time. How can this matter be rushed? Of course, we must think carefully before we can do it. Let's go back to Pangustar to inquire about the information first. Maybe we should ask Sister Hongqiao first, or ask the Shen family and the Li family. It is very likely that we will not get a second one like this. If we use it in the wrong place, there will be no regret medicine to buy. So Xiaoming exited the reincarnation space, and the three clones went back to their homes. The time in the real world has come to noon on July 25th. Before, Xiaoming was too anxious to explore the martial arts world. At that time, he was thinking about how to contact his parents in the game as soon as possible. A leaf blinds you to the mountain. In fact, Xiaoming's parents' game warehouses are already in his Guangmingding, so there is nothing to worry about. It is not so easy to find someone. Xiaoming was particularly worried because he found that there was a force causing trouble in the martial arts planet. Xiaoming sent the most people to the world of the legend of the Condor heroes. From the situation in the following period of time, it seems that Xiaoming's parents did not choose this as their starting secret realm. In this way, Xiaoming can rest assured. As long as he is not here, he does not have to worry too much about falling into other secret realms. This time, after 3 reincarnation worlds, Xiaoming's anxious mentality has stabilized in the Naruto world. The same reason, about the world chain, cannot be impatient. Should I consult someone? Which force should I consult? This should also be carefully considered, and I can't make a hasty decision. Let's live a normal life first. Xiao Xiao ate too much barbecue in the water curtain cave, and he went to sleep in the bright top a long time ago. Maomoer and Xiao Sheneng took turns to serve as the game server. Maomoer was on duty today. Now the burden in this regard has suddenly increased. The people recruited by Zhu Xingxiu and some insect humans need to enter the game of the martial arts planet. Currently, there are more than 150 people online at the same time, and the number is still increasing. On the side of the bright line Zhu Xianqiu, the news spread from 1 to 10, and from 10 to 100. Faced with such generous conditions, veterans kept coming. On the dark line insect human side, The insect king was also continuously laying eggs to increase the number of insect humans under his command. In fact, as long as Xiao Ming's own server is used, the insect humans can also log in to the Magic Planet game. The Nine-Tailed Fox's game cabins with built-in monitoring, the insect humans dare not use it. It's just that in the Magic Planet, Xiao Ming has a shadow clone to use. There is no shortage of manpower. I never thought of bringing the insect humans into play. Besides, there are only more than 100 insect humans, and the insect army still needs their help to control. Xiao Ming didn't think about it. After boarding the Sheneng spacecraft, Xiao Ming came into contact with the martial arts planet game. This game does not allow the use of shadow clones, but encountered something that requires a lot of manpower to solve. This reminded Xiao Ming of the insect humans. The insect humans are his most loyal and capable subordinates. The number is indeed not enough at present, but the insect king can give birth. In fact, Lu Xiaoming has accumulated a lot of energy, enough to produce many insect human eggs. He was just too lazy to give birth before. After Huang Xiaoming returned to the Sheneng spaceship, he checked the situation around the spaceship as usual, and ordered Xiao Sheneng to release some of the spaceship's permissions to the people of the Shen family. At the same time, let Xiao Sheneng use the reconnaissance methods on Sheneng 2 to scan his own universe and proofread the star map. In theory, Sheneng 2 is actually from the Earth in the reincarnation world. The universe star map in its computer should be similar to that of Pangu star. Now it only needs to be proofread. As long as the proofreading work is completed smoothly, you can embark on the correct interstellar journey at any time. At the beginning, the computer system of the Sheneng 1 spaceship was destroyed, forcing Xinq to take a great risk to find Sheneng 2 to replace it. It was not forced to do so. Without a powerful computer system, not only can interstellar navigation be impossible, even if you reach the target star field, the work of establishing a survival base absolutely requires the assistance of the computer system. Otherwise, there would be nothing to do. Of course, Xinq was still taking too much risks. The most rational choice would be to just get a mature computer system. It was not necessary to change such an advanced spacecraft. But Xinq saw it as a rare opportunity. Who let the predecessor of Sheneng 2, Avalon, itself a high-tech spacecraft responsible for interstellar immigration, and the departure point was still the Earth. On the surface, it seemed too suitable. Xinq thought it was God's will at the time. Who would have thought it was a sinkhole? Xiao Ming took the initiative to talk to Xinq for a few words and reported the progress of the Lianchengju secret realm. When the veterans and insect humans entered the Lianchengju secret realm in large numbers, the gang's control over the secret realm was immediately impacted. How could a group of hooligans be the opponents of well-trained veterans? Even if they all learned one or two moves of kung fu, they would be useless in a real fight. There were naturally some masters among them, mainly from the hostile force that had attacked the Xin family. But their number could not be too large, and they must be hidden. You should know that on Pangu Star, all the forces know each other. They know how many masters each family has and what they look like. Especially the two hostile parties know each other better. Therefore, that force can only send hidden personnel, and the number is very limited. Xiao Ming also sent many masters among the insect humans. There may be a gap in quantity, but the quality is definitely stronger among the insect humans. First of all, the physique of the insect humans is better than that of the reincarnations. After entering the martial arts planet, the physical data is also relatively high. Most of them are peak human data. The average reincarnation is not so outstanding. Secondly, all supernatural energy is prohibited on the martial arts planet, and the insect humans are naturally more sensitive to fighting than humans and have talents. Even if the enemy reincarnations have learned some martial arts, the wild insect humans still have the advantage when fighting. So the gang's dominance in the world of Lianchengju collapsed almost instantly. Finally, the opponent also reacted quickly and began to concentrate superior forces to encircle and suppress Xiaoming's subordinates. The two sides entered a state similar to war. Now the veterans' advantage became more obvious. Their various military capabilities were demonstrated, and their ability to coordinate with multiple arms was brought into play. The veterans were like gods, beating amateurs with professionals, and the gangs were left groaning with pain. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 674. Speaking of which, the environment of the Wuxia Planet game is surprisingly suitable for veterans. How should I put it? Soldiers can remain calm before life and death. This fully demonstrates the advantage of players not fearing death in the game. The gangsters are not like that. They are afraid of the strong and bully the weak. They are brave and aggressive. They don't really put life and death aside. Even if they know they don't have to be afraid of death, they will still be afraid when the time comes, and they are more afraid of pain. In just over a week, many hooligans have been beaten up with psychological barriers. They are timid and dare not step forward when fighting. Some even dare not enter the game at all. The nature of cowards is completely exposed. If it is a game like Magic Planet, the high-level martial arts and magic fighting method is very enjoyable from a long distance. Then the players still have the upper hand. But in a game like Wuxia Planet, which does not even have experience and levels and relies only on one's own abilities, soldiers are still stronger. And insect humans can be even stronger. The Shannon players in the secret realm of the untold story can be considered liberated. There are many people crying bitterly. According to the setting of the martial arts planet, even if the players want to unite to fight against the gangs, they can't really organize. In fact, almost all the players have fought back, and there are also fearless ones. But they still can't resist the ruthlessness and vicious torture of the gangsters. When ordinary people fight, they are afraid of killing or injuring others, so they will unconsciously save some strength, which is too disadvantageous. This setting is actually not very reasonable. After all, the martial arts planet is a beta version of the game, and many places are not as perfect as the Magic Planet. And some people are deliberately doing bad things. It has become what it is now. These gangsters are a group of bullies who are afraid of the strong and the weak. After they were severely taught a lesson by the veterans and the insect humans, they have completely lost control of the birth point and resurrection point, and the control of many copies has also been lost. There are also some veterans who have systematically studied various military theories. They know the importance of mobilizing the masses in war. As soon as the gang retreated, they immediately organized the players. With soldiers and insects as the backbone, and players as wings. Rapidly expand their power. The players naturally responded positively. Due to long-standing grievances, they were even willing to accept strict military training just to avenge the hatred of the past 3 years. In the process of fighting against the gangsters, they also bravely moved forward and risked their lives. They exerted extremely strong combat effectiveness. The situation in the Lianchengju secret realm was very good, and it seemed that the gang had been pressed to the ground. Of course, after Xiaoming explained the situation to Xianku, Xianku had a serious face. "Little brother, you must quickly notify your people, and don't relax. The opponent's counterattack is coming soon." "Captain, don't worry, those veterans have also thought of it. They are actively organizing and training, ready to meet the challenge at any time." Xiaoming and the insects lack experience in this regard, but Zhu Xingxiu and others are not that stupid. Naturally prepared. Xianku added, "Just think of me as worrying too much. If I were the enemy, I would use the local forces in Lianchengju to deal with you. There are almost no good people in Lianchengju. The strength of the local snake Wan Zhenshan is not weak. If the strength of the prefect Ling Tuisi is counted, I am afraid, the revolution has not yet succeeded, and comrades still need to work hard. This Xiaoming really didn't expect that the souls were connected. Yin Xiaoming on Pangustar knew it immediately, and then asked the shadow clone who was hanging around in the veterans factory to inform Zhu Xingxiu. Green Xiaoming in Chustar system also notified the insect humans immediately. Although the situation is very good, our activities still need to be concealed and moved underground. Be careful of Wan Zhenshan and Ling Tui Si. By the way, little brother, do you know the soul shifting skill in Juyin Manual? Xi and Ku seem to have suddenly remembered this matter. If we use this skill to deal with Ling Tui Si, and use the government to deal with Wan Zhenshan, maybe it's a solution. Yes, but it's a pity that I can't transfer souls. Halfway through the words, Xiaoming suddenly froze. Didn't he just learn hypnosis in the World of Horror cruise? If the effect is magnified through the Changshengju, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with Ling Tui Si, right? Captain is really smart, I admire you. I just learned a little hypnosis, and now I'm going to try it in Lian Chengju. After saying this, Huang Xiaoming hurriedly left the bridge and ran to his room. This can show that he acted on his words and made decisions immediately. And he took the task of the Xian family seriously. It should be a plus, right? Looking at the leader's figure disappearing quickly, Xian Ku smiled bitterly. You should listen to what he said. You are so impatient, bad review. Of course, Xian Ku didn't just think of this. These days, several key figures of the Xian family have also been thinking about this matter. He just wanted to use the soul transferring skill as a lead to quietly guide the topic to another aspect. The Xian family didn't have the 9-yin manual either. But there are some things that can achieve similar purposes, and the effect may even be better. Of course, these things can't be free. Xian Ku wanted to exchange them with the leader for a few Zanpakuto. Who knew that just as the topic started, the other party had his own way and ran away directly. Alas, if I chase the leader to talk about this now, it seems that I have ulterior motives. Let's wait for the next opportunity. Thinking of another thing, Xian Ku's face became more serious. Just now, he said, the revolution has not yet succeeded, comrades still need to work hard, which was actually a test. It seems that this leader has read The Strange Man from the Far Island, and there must be a large Chinese force behind him. Which one could it be? Xian Ku pondered. 2 minutes later, Huang Xiaoming logged into the martial arts planet and entered the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor Heroes again as Nanziren. According to the time in this secret realm, in another year, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan should meet Guozheng. The 7 people have achieved a small success in the art of longevity. With the current strength, if they meet Qiu Chuji again, about 2 or 3 people can deal with it together. With the strength of 7 people, it is no problem to deal with the Black Wind twins. Xiaoming still feels that he is not in a hurry. Safety comes first. It is better to wait a year before facing the twins according to the original plot. At this time, the 7 people are riding horses on the prairie. There are no towns or inns around, and they cannot switch to the secret realm for the time being. Forget it, I need to find the right opportunity to hypnotize Ling Tui Si. It can't be done overnight. I have to do it slowly. The feeling of riding a horse on the prairie now is actually quite good. Chi Lechuan, under the Yinshan Mountains. The sky is like a dome, covering the 4 fields. The sky is vast, the fields are vast. The wind blows the grass low and you can see cattle and sheep. Don't tell me, there are really sheep in the distance. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 675. Among the 7 people, Xiaoming was the first to see the flock of sheep. He was not surprised and wanted to confirm it again. Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying saw it soon after and called out to everyone in unison, "Brother, second brother, there are sheep in front, and there are yurts. Let's go and take a look." Okay, the rest of the people responded in unison, all of them were in high spirits. According to the original plot, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan searched in the desert for 6 years, which was very exhausting for their spirits and bodies. Later, they were almost desperate. They just wanted to search for 18 years anyway. It was considered worthy of the promise. However, in this secret realm, the 7 people practiced the top internal skills such as Changshengju, and their spirits were still very good, and their physical fitness was getting stronger and stronger. They were not affected by the harsh climate of the desert at all. The oldest brother, Kajin Wu, actually showed some signs of rejuvenation. In fact, he was not old, but there were more wrinkles on his face. Chang Shengju was indeed extraordinary. You know, in terms of internal skills, Kajin Wu is now ranked last among the 7 freaks. He was the strongest, and it was the most difficult for him to practice Chang Shengju. In addition, he was average in talent and had a bad temper. He was also blind, and now his martial arts skills were at the bottom among the 7. Fortunately, the 7 people were not ranked according to martial arts. Chang Shengju is indeed a magical skill. After practicing for a few years, Kajin Wu and Han Baoju's tempers have improved a lot unconsciously. Since the others have been with the 2, it is not obvious. Because everyone has been together for several years. This slow change is not felt. Only Xiaoming, the fake Nanziren, was the first to notice it. Because for Xiaoming, it was just a few days. The feeling is clearer. The 7 freaks of Jiangnan now enjoy this pastoral life. As for the bad climate, it can't hurt them who have achieved success in internal skills. There are sheep in front, so there will naturally be people. Several people rode forward happily, and soon they saw the shepherds, who were a mother and son. Xiaoming was sharp-eyed and saw that they were a Han mother and son, not Mongolians. He was also shocked. It can't be such a coincidence. He actually met Li Ping and Guojing 1 year in advance. So are they going to meet the Black Wind twins soon? He is not ready to fight them yet. While Xiaoming was thinking about it, the 7 monsters had already arrived in front of the mother and son, and Zhu Kong came forward and got the truth in a few words. These 2 are really Li Ping and Guojing. Xiaoming was speechless. The system followed the plot so carelessly. He actually knew in his heart that this change was probably caused by his butterfly. Xiaoming had to take the blame for this. The reason is simple: they have practiced superior internal skills. The current Jiangnan 7 monsters are many times stronger than the 7 monsters in the original book. The search is naturally much faster than the original book. Because they often practice internal skills, they have to delay a little time, which offsets each other. After careful calculation, the system decided to let the 7 monsters find the target 1 year in advance. In the original novel, when the 7 monsters saw Guojing, they disliked this kid for being too stupid, and they also tested him, worrying that he was timid and afraid of the dark and could not learn martial arts. At this time, everyone practiced the Chang Shengju and had a new understanding of martial arts. They no longer cared whether Guojing was timid or not, and it didn't matter if he was a little stupid, they had confidence. Immediately, under the witness of Li Ping, they accepted the 5-year-old Guojing as their apprentice. They began to lay the foundation for him. Not only did they teach him martial arts, but Zhu Kong also taught him to read. At the same time, the 7 monsters bought a few yurts from the shepherds to live in, and Zhang Ashen and Han Xiaoying also bought some lambs to raise, and they actually started to live. In the original novel of the Legend of the Condor Heroes, it was Ma Yu, one of the 7 sons of Quan Zhen, who came to the desert from afar to teach Guojing the inner strength of Quan Zhen. Guojing, such a fool, was not stumped when learning Taoist inner strength. It can only mean that the matching degree is very high. It just so happened that the Chang Shengju is also a Taoist inner strength, and Guojing stumbled and learned it. The main reason is that the Jiangnan 7 freaks used the method that Nanziran taught Kajin Wu. They used their internal energy to help Guojing to operate the Changshengju. In the past 3 years, the 7 freaks have been cooperating in practicing martial arts. They are also very familiar with doing such things. A year later, the 6-year-old Guojing can already operate the Changshengju internal energy by himself. He is young, and practicing this innate internal energy is better than the 7 freaks. With this magical skill as a foundation, the 7 people are very confident about the future gambling. In addition, not long ago, Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying's first daughter was just born. A brand new character appeared. Seeing that it was a girl, Xiaoming was a little worried again. Guojing is too lucky in love. In addition to Huangrong and Huazhang, is there another competitor? So he strongly advocated naming the little girl Zhang Ning. It is said that those with the characters Zhang and Ning in their names are all great characters. This day, Xiaoming went to the yurt for a few miles around the usual inspection before returning. He has been worried about the arrival of the Black Wind twins. Now it's almost time. Recently, there have been reports of herders disappearing for no reason nearby. I'm afraid these 2 evil stars are not far away. Xiaoming plans to find evidence quickly so that he can lead a few brothers to fight monsters and level up. Maybe he can even snatch the 9 yin manual. In the past year, Xiaoming asked his eldest brother Kajin Wu for the techniques of hidden weapons, and also asked everyone to learn together. It's to prepare for dealing with strong enemies. No matter how powerful the guy is, if 7 people join forces to throw a lot of stones and hidden weapons at him, he will not be able to get away with it. In the original novel, the Black Wind twins almost beat the Jiangnan 7 freaks together, but Mei Chaofeng still suffered a loss from Kajin Wu's hidden weapon. Now the strength of the 7 people has greatly increased. If everyone can use hidden weapons, they will have a better chance of winning against the Black Wind twins. It must be said that the Black Wind twins' Kung Fu is not only the true teachings of Peach Blossom Island, but also the martial arts in the 9 Yin Manual. Absolutely powerful. The 7 freaks' current Changshengju internal skills are indeed awesome, but their external martial arts are not up to par. Xiaoming knows that according to the setting of the big martial arts world, after everyone's internal skills are perfected, they can use any martial arts with the power of superior martial arts at will. But time waits for no one. So now we have to find a way to deal with the Black Wind twins. Xiaoming's own Kung Fu is not suitable to be used, and this excuse is difficult to find. Is it time to encounter another mirage? After thinking about it, Xiaoming thinks that the hidden weapon Kung Fu of his elder brother is the most effective. Brothers are loyal to each other and share life and death. It is not a taboo to learn martial arts from each other. None of them has practiced the unique skills that are forbidden to be passed on. The 7 monsters have not reached that level yet. With the help of the internal force of Changshengju, the 7 people can learn Kung Fu from each other without any effort. Even under Xiaoming's intentional or unintentional guidance, the 7 monsters can cooperate with each other in internal force when fighting against the enemy and fight together. This already has some meaning of Tiangang Baidu formation. Black Wind twins, I am waiting for you 2 to give experience and secrets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 676. During this period, Huang Xiaoming took the time to use the yurt to switch to the Lianchengju secret realm many times. As Captain Xianku said, the force that harmed the Shen family began to rely on Wang Zhenshen's power. When the gangsters were dispatched, there were also disciples, thugs, and servants of the Wan family. Thanks to the advance reminder, our reincarnations hid and fought guerrilla warfare. Xiaoming tried to get close to the prefect Ling Tui Si many times, but it was difficult to do so. If you plan to hypnotize someone, you can't force it. Forcing it will only promote the other party's rebellious psychology. If people are alert, hypnosis will be more difficult. And as a reincarnation, it is difficult to get close to Ling Tui Si, an NPC with such a high status as the prefect. Yes. We are all reincarnations. If we can't get close to him, then it will be difficult for the enemy to get close. Although they relied on the power of the government and Wang Zhenshan, they should not have seen Ling Tui Si and Wang Zhenshan themselves, so they can only take the path of middle-level managers. For example, the legal advisors and jailers in the government office, some useless disciples and housekeepers of Wang Zhenshan. This is easy to deal with. Xiaoming specifically looks for those NPCs with the highest status that he can contact, takes the initiative to treat them to meals and give them gifts, and secretly hypnotizes them. He hinted to them that those gangsters approached their boss in order to spy on secret information. After Xiaoming influenced enough people, he notified his subordinates in the secret realm and quickly returned to the secret realm of the legend of the Condor heroes. In just this interruption, the battle between the 7 freaks of Jiangnan and the Black Wind twins has already been fought halfway. The system is definitely intentional and really knows how to find opportunities. Nan Ziran, who is possessed by Xiaoming, is taking care of the child at home at this time. Holding Zhang Ning'er in his arms, his right hand is supporting the back of little Guozheng. In fact, Xiaoming himself is running the Changshengju internal energy, and secretly driving the true energy in Zhang Ning'er and Guozheng to run together. Running the internal energy for a child who has just been born is also a very dangerous thing. Among the 7 monsters, only Nan Ziran, who has the most profound internal skills and the deepest understanding of the Changshengju, can do this. Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying boldly handed the child to the 4th brother. Zhang Ning'er started practicing martial arts shortly after she was born, and her future achievements will definitely be great. Xiaoming has thought about it. Let's not play table tennis or volleyball, just be an ordinary peerless master. Suddenly, a woman's long whistle came from the yurt far away. This woman has strong internal skills, and it's not the voice of the 7th sister. Xiaoming was shocked. There is only one such master in the desert, Mei Chaofeng. So he slowly withdrew from this state of practice and listened attentively. Mei Chaofeng's long whistle was extremely shrill. This is the sound that will be heard when encountering a strong enemy and suffering a great loss. Who else can she meet in this corner? It must be her brother. Then several long whistles sounded one after another, and all parties were communicating with each other using the sound of long whistles. Judging from the distance and direction of the sound, the Iron Corpse Mei Chaofeng is in the northeast, a little far from the yurt, and should have met the trio of Cajun Wu, Zhu Kong, and Quan Jinfa. The one closer to the northwest is the Bronze Corpse Chen Xianfeng, and he naturally met the trio of Han Baozhu, Zhang Ashan, and Han Xiaoying. It is normal for the Black Wind twins to be at a disadvantage when fighting 1 against 3. A nearby player who has read the original novel said, "MMP, I really don't understand this operation." Although in terms of martial arts, Han Baozhu's group is still stronger, but Han Xiaoying has just given birth to a child, so her body is inevitably weaker. Zhang Ashan is concerned about his wife, and Han Baozhu is concerned about his sister. When fighting, they tend to protect rather than attack. Chen Xuanfeng's martial arts is the higher one among the twins, and this group is evenly matched. Mei Chaofeng was in a more miserable situation. The martial arts of the 3 people of Ke Zhenyi were only slightly inferior to hers. Since they had no scruples, their actual combat effectiveness was much higher. Ke Zhenyi and the Black Wind twins had a deep hatred, and they used cruel moves when they fought. Zhu Kong could understand his elder brother's feelings, so he naturally tried every means to help his elder brother. Seeing the right opportunity, he and Quan Jinfa shot dozens of stone-hidden weapons together, instantly beating Mei Chaofeng into a panic. Her left arm was also hit. This created an opportunity for Ke Zhenyi. When Zhu Kong said 5 steps to the left, Ke Zhenyi's 6 poisonous spikes shot in the direction. Just like the original novel, Mei Ko Feng's eyes were instantly blinded. The long and shrill whistle that Xiao Ming heard was caused by this. On the other side, Chen Xianfeng knew that his wife was in danger as soon as he heard the sound, so how could he still fight with others slowly here? He quickly used several fierce moves to force the 3 people back a few steps, and then he left. At the same time, he let out a long whistle to notify his wife to come and join him. With the status of the Jiangnan 7 freaks in the past, they were not in the eyes of the Black Wind twins. Therefore, Chen Xianfeng did not know who these masters who suddenly appeared were. In fact, he was still wondering in his heart. He had basically heard of masters with such martial arts in the Central Plains. He didn't match the 3 people in front of him. It was really unlucky. He was driven out of the Central Plains and came to this wild land, but he could still meet such a master. His luck was too bad. It was rare for 3 masters like this to appear at the same time. I didn't expect his wife to be in danger and injured. Is she more unlucky than him? How could these people appear in the desert? Chen Xianfeng was really confused. He didn't understand, but the Jiangnan 7 freaks were not confused. A few months ago, Ke Zhenyi had told his brothers about the grudge between him and the Black Wind twins. If he had been in his bad temper before, he would not have told them about it. After practicing the Changshengju, his temper was gradually affected. In addition, the joint practice of internal skills allowed the 7 monsters to communicate with each other a little bit. The eldest brother sometimes thought of hatred, and the others could also feel that emotion. Ke Zhenyi simply confessed to everyone. Before the Jiangnan 7 freaks formed a brotherhood, Ke Zhenyi and his eldest brother Flying Dragon Ke Pixie traveled together in the rivers and lakes. When they encountered the Black Wind twins practicing martial arts with living people, they couldn't stand it and stepped forward to stop them. Naturally, they were no match for them. Ke Pixie died in the hands of the twins, and Ke Zhenyi was also blinded at that time. Ke Zhenyi never forgot this deep hatred. When the brothers heard that the Black Wind twins had killed innocent people so cruelly, they were also filled with righteous indignation. They often talked about revenge on weekdays. In the past, Ke Zhenyi wanted to take revenge, and he was willing to risk his life to fight for it, so he never told his brothers, and he didn't want to implicate everyone. Now that he has the secret of immortality, his mentality has changed. After the 7 monsters have mastered their internal strength, they will go to the Central Plains to settle accounts with these 2 demons. They will definitely be captured easily. Unexpectedly, the Black Wind twins also came to the desert. The fate of the 2 groups finally intersected. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 677. In fact, this time, only the Jiangnan 6 monsters fought against the Black Wind twins. Xiao Ming was holding a baby and guarding a child. How could he rush out to participate in this battle? What if something happened to the child? So the 6 monsters told Nanziren happily after they finished the fight. At that time, Chen Xianfeng heard Mei Ko Feng's long whistle and also whistled in response. The couple hurriedly ran to each other. The trio on both sides naturally guessed what was going on and hurriedly chased after them. Fighting alone, 1 against 3 is still a disadvantage, and when everyone gathered together, the disadvantage was even greater. Mei Chaofeng was blinded and injured, and almost became a scum. It was all thanks to Chen Xuanfeng's burst of the small universe that he fought 1 against 6. Of course, Chen Xianfeng had never learned the small universe, he only knew how to fight desperately. It was all thanks to him fighting to the death to protect Mei Chaofeng. Mei Chaofeng was seriously injured and ran away, but Chen Xianfeng died in the battle. Unable to bear the corpse being exposed in the wilderness, the 6 monsters buried Chen Xianfeng. They were all chivalrous people. Since Chen Xianfeng was dead, the grudges were written off. they would never destroy the corpse. After understanding the situation of the battle, Xiaoming also experienced the power of the system. Although the plot was changed, the ending was no different from the original, and the end was the same. Even if he participated in it vigorously, he probably did not have the ability to completely change this plot. Originally, the plot in the secret realm required a certain number of game players to advance. However, Xiaoming used a higher level of authority to replace the plot character Nanziren, and he was actually more powerful in advancing the plot. Since the plot has passed, the copy will still appear. It's just that those players who know the secret realm will be more confused. I don't understand what's going on. We didn't go through the plot, so how did the copy appear by itself? What the hell? As mentioned before, the Shen family sent some people into the secret realm of the legend of the Condor heroes. It also advanced the plot a little bit. Now only one player has made good progress and caught up with Guo Jing's family. Other players don't know what they are doing. When he saw the Black Wind Twin Demons dungeon appear, you can imagine how shocked he was. He immediately quit the game and reported this abnormal phenomenon to the top management of the Shen family. Shen Ku and others were also shocked, but they couldn't suspect the leader. What they provided to the leader was just a normal version of the game cabin, and now at most they can enter the improved secret realm. What happened in the ultimate secret realm of the legend of the Condor heroes could not be related to the leader at all. Even for a period of time, they didn't mention this to Xiaoming. They also missed the opportunity to know the truth. Xiaoming still didn't give up. He asked the 6 monsters for the direction, and then hurried out to play the role of a tomb raider, hoping to get the 9 yin manual. As a result, he was still a step late, and Mei Chaofeng had taken the manual away in advance. This leak is really hard to pick up. And the embarrassing thing happened again. It was very similar to Xiaoming's treatment in the reincarnation world. In the martial arts planet, players will definitely get corresponding rewards after clearing the plot. Especially the first time, the rewards are the most generous. But Xiaoming replaced the role of Nanziren, so he would not get any rewards for clearing the plot. Between gains and losses, the game system is still quite fair. Next, Xiaoming did a few more experiments to see if he could significantly change the direction of the plot. The first time, Xiaoming proposed to the 7 monsters that he planned to take Guojing and his mother back to the Song dynasty. They are all Han people, so there is no need to endure the bitter cold in the desert. Returning to the territory of the Song dynasty, everyone's living conditions will be better, and it will be better for the children. However, this matter was rejected by the other 6 monsters. The reason is simple. Everyone's martial arts have not been practiced yet, so it is better to wait for Guojing to grow up. By then, the martial arts of the 7 monsters and Guojing should be very strong, and it will not be too late to go back and pretend. Especially since Zhang Ning'er had just been born, how could he bear to take such a young child on a long journey? Xiaoming was speechless. The second time, he wanted to kill Genghis Khan. Although the Jin dynasty was strong, it has begun to decline now, and the threat to the southern Song dynasty is getting smaller and smaller. The Mongolian Empire that will prosper in the future is the biggest threat to the southern Song dynasty. So Xiaoming wants to kill Genghis Khan in advance. Eliminate a disaster for the Han people. However, Nanziren has been squatting for many times, but he has never encountered Temujin alone. Even if he occasionally shoots stones from a distance to plot secretly, there will definitely be a guard who accidentally blocks Xiaoming's killing move. Xiaoming was so angry that he tried to attack several other future Mongolian generals, but the result was the same. Sometimes I feel that if I try harder, I might be able to kill 1 or 2. However, I thought about it again, even if I succeeded by chance, the system would just choose another person to replace him. It was also useless. After several tossings, Xiaoming was also scared. The game system manages the plot very strictly. Zhang Ashan can survive, and the 7 freaks of Jiangnan can practice the longevity secret. This is already a convenient door for the system. Xiaoming should actually be content. I spent more than a year in Legend of the Condor Heroes, from meeting Guojing, to fighting the Black Wind Twins, to doing a few experiments. In reality, about another week passed. During this time, other things were naturally going on in an orderly manner. Let's describe them one by one. Let's talk about several characters in the main game of Magic Planet first. Before, Xiaoming enlightened the souls of Xiao Er, Xiao San'er, Xiao Sier, and Xiao Wu'er, the intelligent programs. This gave them almost the same authority as players. With them operating these characters, there are more tasks that can be opened. Their game skills are not inferior to those of ordinary professional players. Mainly as intelligent programs, they can process a large amount of data in a timely and accurate manner, so they can perform many extreme operations that even top professional players find difficult to do. In the Magic Planet, whether it is a strategic map or an adventure map, players act with their subordinates. In the process of operating subordinates, intelligent programs can even complete fine operations that players cannot do at all in a multi-threaded manner. This allows them to complete many tasks that ordinary players, even professional players, cannot complete. Of course, as intelligent programs that have just obtained souls, they sometimes seem to be not flexible enough and do things in a roundabout way. In some aspects, they are not as good as ordinary players. This requires them to accumulate experience for a long time. After logging into the Explorer, Xiaoming found an interesting record that the Explorer operated by Xiao Er had completed a small copy, Wusong Fights the Tiger. This record is very clear, that is, the Explorer and Fan Rui traveled together and arrived at Jingyang Ridge a few days ago. The system then prompted Xiao to open the Wusong Tiger fighting dungeon. Xiao naturally opened this dungeon happily. Only explorers can enter this dungeon, but Fan Rui cannot enter it. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 678. The plot of the dungeon is quite simple. Wusong, a level 6 expert, got drunk and went up Jingyang Ridge. He killed a level 6 wild monster tiger with his bare hands. In fact, he didn't need help. Under the control of Xiao Er, the explorer who entered the dungeon cleverly did not attack the tiger to attract hatred, but helped Wusong recover his life from a distance. This tiger is just a wild monster, not belonging to the category of Warcraft, and his brain is not working well. He didn't know the rule that he should kill the auxiliary first in a fight, and he foolishly fought with Wusong. With the help of the explorer, Wusong in the dungeon easily killed the tiger and completed this dungeon. Gain a few experience coins and a piece of tiger bone. These are all dispensable things. The really useful reward is, the favorability between the explorer and Wusong add 5. Xiaoming suddenly realized. Oh my god, it turns out that going down the mountain to travel is for this. No wonder Master Gongsun Sheng strongly advocated going down the mountain by himself. He even asked Xiaoming to exchange the city and minerals in a high-level map. This benefit is worth it. When Xiaoming knew about the water margin Liangshan, the 108 generals had already gathered on the mountain. Xiaoming also knew a little about the story of water margin. He knew that there were many wonderful stories in the early stage, and it was a pity that these plots could not appear in the game. Now it is natural to understand that those early stories have been passed down as copies. Through these copies, players can actually gain the favorability of the 108 generals. Maybe there will be greater benefits. There has been no news of water margin copies on the player forum so far. Xiaoming estimated that the restrictions for opening the copy should be very high. Maybe he has to join Liangshan like himself and become a formal member. He also needs to obtain permission to travel down the mountain. Xiaoming was very excited and quickly asked Fan Rui beside him, "Brother, where are we now?" Originally, they belonged to the Liangshan faction, so they had a basic 20 points of favorability. They practiced Taoism under Gongsun Sheng together, and the favorability increased by 5 points. These days, the two of them helped the poor people together and got along well, and the favorability increased by another 7 points, and now it is 32 points. Fan Rui is one of the genuine earthly evil stars, a 5th-level Taoist priest. His favorability is rare. Xiaoming is lucky. Junior brother, your memory is not very good. How can you travel in the world in the future? Fan Rui first teased him, and then said. The day before yesterday, you said you wanted to go to Bianliang City in Kaifeng Prefecture, Tokyo, to see the excitement. Now it is not far away. I tell you, there are all kinds of people in Bianliang City, and there are many messengers. We brothers can go to see the excitement, but we must be careful not to cause trouble, otherwise we will be caught by the government. Seeing that Fan Rui was even serious, Xiaoming nodded repeatedly. I will never cause trouble, senior brother, rest assured. As an explorer with the current level 2 player status, he can only enter small cities and is not qualified to enter the capital of the Song dynasty. But with the background of Liangshan heroes, it is different. Following Fan Rui, he can also enter the capital. The smart program Xiao is quite good at choosing targets, and he is praised verbally. Yes, it was Xiao who proposed the request to come to Tokyo. Very smart. As they were walking, they came across a forest in front of them. They were a little tired and went in to take a rest. Xiaoming casually took out some ascetic barbecue with enhanced taste and handed it to Fan Rui. Fan Rui had eaten it twice before and the taste was really good, so he increased his favorability by 2 points. It was a pity that the junior brother didn't often take it out, and he was so greedy. At this moment, the junior brother was generous and quickly took it over happily. The system sent a prompt, this place can trigger the wild boar forest dungeon. Do you want to enter the dungeon? It turned out that this place was the wild boar forest, which was also a famous scene in Water Margin. Of course, it had to be triggered. Xiaoming immediately chose to agree. The surrounding scene began to change, Fan Rui disappeared, and 2 officials could be seen from afar in the forest talking to a prisoner wearing shackles. It looked like Dong Chao, Xue Bie, and Lin Chong. According to the plot, this was also a crushing game, and Xiaoming had to hurry up to get some of the credit. Suddenly, I found that more than a dozen people came outside the forest, all wearing night clothes and holding various weapons. They had bad intentions. Using the circle to feel, Xiaoming knew that only half of these guys were at level 2, and the rest were level 1 soldiers. Using the identification technique, I found that this group of people were servants of Gao's mansion. It seems that they were sent by Gao Qiu. These people did not appear in the original book, right? Xiaoming is not sure. I guess the difficulty of this copy was raised a little bit. Although this group of guys rushed in, they were not the opponents of Lu Zixin at level 6, but it would definitely affect Xiaoming's task evaluation. Of course, Xiaoming was not afraid at all. As long as the mercenaries in the tent were released, they could fight evenly. Xiaoming was too lazy to do so. He suddenly changed and showed 3 heads and 6 arms. One of them was a skull. The 6 arms were spread out, the skills were activated, the ground nearby began to shake, and then hundreds of skeleton soldiers crawled out from the ground. Immediately surrounded the dozen or so black-clothed men who attacked. The scope of this intermediate death harvest was a bit large, or there were too many wronged souls in the wild boar forest, and they responded to Xiaoming's call very actively. Even in the distance, dozens of skeleton soldiers appeared around Dong Chao and Xue Bie. Dong Chao and Xue Bie peed at that time, and the tied Lin Chong and Lu Zixin hiding behind the tree were also shocked. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen servants of the Gao mansion, including Dong Chao and Xue Bie, were dead on the spot. Lu Zixin was shocked and quickly jumped in front of Lin Chong to protect him. The ranks of these skeleton soldiers are a bit high. Level 2 is not as good as dogs, level 3 is everywhere, and there are several level 4 soldiers. There are too many heroes and strong men buried in the wild boar forest. They were not weak when they were alive. After being harvested by Xiaoming, some of them can be strengthened. Lin and Lu are both knowledgeable. The strength of the undead wizard who can summon so many powerful undead at once should not be underestimated. Even if these skeleton soldiers killed Dong Chao and Xue Bie, they seem to be on their side. But who can guarantee that they will not kill anyone they see? With Lu Zixin's strength, there is no problem in protecting himself. But Lin Chong is wearing shackles and his strength is suppressed. He will be very dangerous if he really fights. Hua Heshang is rough but delicate, and he did not act rashly. Observe the situation first. Brother, how did you get here? Lin Chong looked at the skeleton soldiers around him and said, Brother, be careful. The enemy is strong. Don't worry, I'm here to protect you. The two of them just chatted for a few words, and suddenly all the skeleton soldiers were covered with white light, and the bones fell to the ground and disappeared. This move was the Taoist spiritual power spell that Xiaoming learned from Fan Rui, to save the dead souls. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 679. If it were Fan Rui or even Gongsun Sheng, he would definitely be shocked to see that the explorer can use such a powerful skill to transcend the dead. According to the level of a level 1 explorer, there is simply not so much spiritual power. Xiaoming naturally uses his own spiritual power. The nine-tailed fox accepted it happily on behalf of the game system. Although it is not as high as the source energy, the spiritual power is pretty good. The Magic Planet game actually accepts everyone. Many of the nine-tailed fox's compatriots are still asleep. The more of high-quality energy, the better. Lu Zixin also knew this trick to save the souls of the dead. It's just that he is a little strange. Isn't this a professional skill of a Taoist priest or a monk? He himself is a flower monk and does not know this kind of skill. However, I have never eaten pork, but I have always seen pigs running away. He became a monk in the temple and had seen many great monks, so he still knew this skill. To be able to save so many undead souls at once, the caster can be regarded as an eminent monk. Why are you getting involved with the necromancer? Lu Zixin never expected that the previous death harvest and the current salvation of dead souls were both made by the same person. Xiaoming is not very clear about the rules in the dungeon and thinks too much. If Lu Zixin and Lin Chong saw him in the dungeon, would there be any problems caused by death harvest? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be possible. After all, this is just a copy. The real two Tiangang stars are still playing in Liangshan. But Xiaoming thinks it's better to be careful. The explorer himself will not show up. He just sent a message from a distance and said, I don't have any ill intentions. I just draw my sword to help when I see an injustice. I don't want to listen to your teachings face to face. Tisk Lu Zixin was immediately dissatisfied and said disdainfully, I thought he was just a character. He hides his head and shows his tail, which is not what a hero does. Lin Chong said respectfully, thank you hero for your help. Lin has nothing to repay. Looking at the bodies of Dong Chao and Xue Bie, I felt a little regretful. It's a pity that these two officials were ruined. How can I get to Kangzhou now? These words transferred Lu Zixin's anger to Lin Chong. Monk Hua shouted loudly. Brother, why do you need to go to Kangzhou and accept the insults of that court? Now just go back to Tokyo overnight, kill Gao Yanai, and snatch your wife's family away. Let's. Lu Zixin felt that this brother was good at everything, but he was a little too unhappy. He began to outline a bright future for Lin Chong. How could Lin Chong be willing to listen? He only wanted to return to Tokyo and asked the government to send 2 more government officials to escort him to Kangzhou. The 2 of them each said their own words, but they were at a stalemate. Xiaoming remained silent, just wanting to see if Lu Zishan could take Lin Chong away when the official was dead. It would be a good thing if Lin Chong ran away, even if he was just enjoying himself in the copy. Xiaoming still hopes to see Lin Chong resist his fate. In the end, Lin Chong still obeyed the law. Lu Zishan was not even allowed to open the shackles. I just want to return to Tokyo. But the original officer died, and if Lin Chong went back like this, Gao Qiu would definitely make use of the situation, and Lin Chong would definitely be in trouble. If that's the case, then let him fulfill his wish. Xiaoming summoned 2 7 shadow clones, transformed into Dong Chao and Xue Bie respectively, and walked into the forest. Naturally, these 2 impostors could not hide it from Lu and Lin. When Lin Chong heard the song and understood its elegant meaning, he was immediately overjoyed and bowed in all directions. Thank you so much for saving your life. Please give me your name. Lin Chong will repay you generously. Lu Zishan was still a little angry on the surface and said, mind your own business, but he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. I can't defeat Lin Chong at all. It would be miserable if my brother really returned to Bianliang, Tokyo. This is fine, this is fine. It is said that this expert's magic of spreading the beans into soldiers is indeed very powerful. The 2 clones are also at level 4, which I admire. The Qi Yao Shadow clone can help Xiaoming exercise all his abilities, which is really valuable. Xiaoming couldn't bear to use it in the game. Instead, he summoned 40 people in reality to practice various skills in Guangmingding. There are only 10 spare places left. In this environment, it would be impossible for Xiaoming's ordinary shadow clone to complete the task. It may not be possible to deceive the Kangzhou government. And the chakra of ordinary shadow clones is not enough to enable them to complete such a complicated job. If there is a battle in the middle, the chakra will not be enough. Therefore, they could only send out Qi Yao Shadow clone. Even if this is just a copy, players must deal with it properly. Even when acting, you have to do a full set. With these 2 fake Dong Chao and Xue Bie, Lin Chong can get rid of the shackles with peace of mind and wait until he is near Kangzhou to put them on again. Lu Zishan was still worried and followed him all the way. Xiaoming couldn't help but sigh, is this true love? So touching. Lin Chong was injured by a stick during the interrogation. He was tortured by Dong Chao and Xue Bie along the way and burned his feet. It was really miserable. The 2 clones fired 7 or 8 healing spells in succession, and these skin injuries healed quickly. Lin Chong thanked him profusely and asked his benefactor's name again. Naturally, Xiaoming kept pretending to the end and only said that his family was compassionate and that Lin Chong would be able to repay his kindness by helping more people in the future. Facing a person with such a noble character, Lin Chong was so moved that he fell to the ground. Lu Zishan saw the clone treating Lin Chong's injuries, and was very grateful to this expert who was hiding his head and showing his tail. When he heard people doing good deeds without leaving their names behind, although he didn't say anything, he still admired them in his heart. At least it is much higher than this fake monk like him. His attitude improved a lot unconsciously. Xiaoming was relieved. Lu Zishan had always been fierce. Xiaoming was a little worried that if he flattered the wrong person, his favorability would decrease instead of increase. Lu Zishan's attitude improved, and it seemed that he would not be so miserable. The few people walked out of the wild boar forest while chatting. The scene changed, and senior brother Fan Rui appeared in front of him again. The 2 7-star shadow clones were also automatically recovered. The system prompts, the wild boar forest dungeon is completed, and the task completion is excellent, reward a few gold coins and some experience. Lin Chong's favorability add 22, Lu Zishan's favorability add 13. Get a special opportunity, consume 10 points of favorability between you and Lin Chong, and you can learn Lin Chang's spearmanship. This is the spearmanship of the world of high martial arts and high magic, which is enough to fight with masters. This is definitely a rare opportunity for warriors who use spears, such as that Tang Dynasty Zhao Yun. It's a pity that Xiao Ming is not interested in spearmanship, which doesn't suit his appetite. He is reluctant to give up those 10 points of favorability. Decisively rejected this opportunity. As a system NPC, Fan Rui could understand the behavior of players entering the dungeon. Seeing Xiao Ming suddenly disappear, he did not make a fuss. After a while, he saw Xiao Ming suddenly appear again, and he did not ask much. When he was free, he usually chatted with Xiao Ming about his experience in Taoism and anecdotes in the martial arts world. By the way, he got some good wine and meat from the explorer. The wild boar forest dungeon yielded a lot of harvest, which was a good sign. Xiao Ming was full of expectations for the Tokyo city ahead. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 680. During this week, the explorers stayed in Bianliang City, Tokyo, with only one copy activated, Flower Monk Uprooting Weeping Willows. I thought it was just a dungeon going through the motions, just watch the excitement and be done with it. Unexpectedly, you need to be qualified to watch the fun. After Xiao Ming entered the dungeon, a large group of ruffians gathered outside the vegetable garden of Daxiakuo Temple, blocking the path of the explorers. The number of people has almost reached 40, and their strength has reached level 2. It turned out to be much stronger than the wave of enemies in the wild boar forest. In the vegetable garden, there is a scene where Lu Zixin takes care of Zhang San, Li Si, and about 20 other scoundrels, and then comes the famous scene of uprooting a weeping willow. Outside the vegetable garden, explorers need to deal with about 40 thugs before they can get tickets to enter the garden. The difficulty is not at all. The gangsters were instantly overwhelmed by Xiao Ming's summoned shadow clone. Xiao Ming entered the vegetable garden as quickly as possible and helped Lu Zixin kick back a few escaping thugs. In this section of the dungeon, if the player is not strong enough, he may have to wait until Lin Chang arrives, and he can only enter the vegetable garden with Lin Chang's help. In this way, he owed Lin Chang a lot of favors and hindered the improvement of his favorability. If the speed is not fast enough and he does not help in the vegetable garden, he will gain less favorability from Lu Zixin. But Xiao Ming took a big advantage. Although the difficulty of the copy is increasing. However, the extent of the improvement is based on the explorer's apparent strength. Explorers are only at level 2, so the enemies spawned by the system are less powerful. This allowed Xiao Ming to easily increase the favorability of these two level 6 masters. The strength of Lu Zixin and Lin Chang is still above that of the explorer's ascetic master Guo Jinsong and Mr. Guo. Thinking back on how difficult it was to get Mr. Guo's favorability level back then. The reason why we are able to achieve this level of success now is because the explorers pushed the progress of the game too fast. Normal players who want to enter the assessment stage of Liangshan must reach level 3 or higher. When players strive to become candidates for 100 singles and 8 coaches, they must reach at least level 4. At this time, the prerequisite criteria for traveling down the mountain have been reached. After that, the player must make enough achievements to gain the right to go down the mountain. And traveling down the mountain is a hidden mission. If Xiao Ming hadn't learned from Gongsun Sheng, he wouldn't have known about traveling down the mountain so early. What the explorer paid was a city on an advanced map and a large amount of minerals on the strategic map. These things are only so valuable in the early stages. Shuabo Liangshan has not yet entered the strategic map on a large scale. The contributions of explorers have allowed the Liangshan forces to lay a better foundation in the early stages of entering the strategic map. That's why you can get rewards like traveling down the mountain. If after level 4, both Liangshan and the players have a lot of cities and minerals on the strategic map, Liangshan will not look down on you if you bring out another city. It's time for Xiao Ming to catch up. Having said that, Giving up that dungeon actually slowed down the explorer's exploration progress on the strategic map. It can only be said to be a fair deal. In fact, those early dungeons of water margin can not only be opened by traveling down the mountain. You can also have a chance to enter by participating in certain tasks. Of course, there will be some restrictions in the system. You can only enter the dungeons of some weak generals to participate in the mission. For those relatively powerful Tiangang stars and some important Earth Evil stars, their copies are difficult to open. Only players who have traveled down the mountain are eligible to open the dungeons of masters such as Wusong, Luzishan, and Lin Chong. At the same time, each time a dungeon is opened, the difficulty of the next dungeon will gradually increase. Xiaoming's first copy is Wusong Fights the Tiger. It is opened by the intelligent program Xiaoer. The game system didn't do anything to increase difficulty at the time. Explorer and Wusong deal with the original tiger together. It can be said to be a free gift. The second copy is Wild Boar Forest. It should have been given away for free, but because it was the second copy, the difficulty increased, so the system spawned more than a dozen level 1-2 servants. At this time, if it is a level 4 player, it is impossible to face this kind of strength. There will be at least 40 types of creatures, including level 4 thugs. Players must use mercenaries to fight. Suffering some losses is almost inevitable. This is still just the second copy. The third copy is Uprooting the Weeping Willow. There are about 40 level 2 enemies, and their strength is actually more than twice that of the explorer's mercenaries. In theory, the difficulty should be very high. Unfortunately, Xiaoming's shadow clones all have level 3 physical data and level 4-5 combat effectiveness. In the face of this kind of strength, this difficulty is equal to no difficulty. Hey! You're a second level brat. How dare you interfere in the SA family's business, no matter what your abilities are? Luzishan shouted angrily at the explorer who had just entered. He seemed to be very dissatisfied with the explorer's behavior of stealing monsters. Xiaoming now also knows his temper. In fact, it depends on the explorer's strength. If it were a level 5 character, he probably wouldn't have this attitude. People like Luzishan only admire experts but have little strength, so no matter how much they flatter him, it may not be of much use. What the great monk said makes no sense. Don't you think you can't judge people by their appearance, and you can't measure the sea water? How can you be sure that I am only level 2, Xiaoming retorted unceremoniously. Good boy, you are not a big man, but your tone is not small, so let's see the truth with your fists and feet. While he was talking, Luzishan had already rushed over, as fast as a galloping horse and as powerful as thunder. And then fell into a tight siege. Xiaoming summoned 110 shadow clones to deal with him. And they were not ordinary shadow clones, among which there were 10 7 stars shadow clone. There were also 100 Beast Girl uniform shadow clone. The strength of the shadow clone was not weak, and with the additional ability of the Beast Girl uniform, this combat power was definitely up to level 5. Luzishan rushed over with bare hands, and he immediately fell into a tough battle against so many people. Xiaoming used all the ninjutsu he learned in the Naruto world on Luzishan. Fireballs, water dragons, ground spikes, lightning strikes, wind blades, endless. After fighting for a while, Xiaoming's shadow clones retreated collectively. Big monk, you don't have a weapon, so you can't use your skills. If you don't have enough fun, go get a weapon and fight again. Luzishan didn't dare to underestimate this guy at this moment. How could someone who can do such a thing be only level 2? He must have hidden his strength. He did not even go to get his weapon, but shouted at the explorer, "You are a man of character, I underestimated you just now. I apologize to you. We had a good fight. Now I am hungry. Let's have some wine and meat first, and then we can fight again." The flower monk was really straightforward. Xiaoming was delighted and said, Okay, let's get drunk together today. After that, he took out countless fine wines and delicacies from Guangmingding, and even these rough Ians had a good time.